The Phoenix Theatre and Arts Company's audio drama series presents Oscar Wilde's An Ideal Husband, Act 4, adapted by Phil Pinnell and directed by Gina Stanton. For past episodes, upcoming events, and other information, make sure to visit our website at phoenixtheatreartsco.com. That's theater with an R-E. Without further ado, we give you An Ideal Husband, Act 4.
Ideal Husband, Act 4. Lord Goring is standing by the fireplace with his hands in his pockets. He is looking rather bored. He pulls out his watch, inspects it, and rings the bell to summon his butler, Phipps.
It is a great nuisance. Can't find anyone in this house to talk to. And I am full of interesting information. I feel like the latest edition of something or other.
Sir Robert is still at the Foreign Office, my lord.
Lady Chilton not down yet?
Her ladyship has not yet left her room. Miss Chiltern has just come in from riding.
Ah, that is something.
Lord Caversham has been waiting some time in the library for Sir Robert. I told him your lordship was here.
Thank you. Would you kindly tell him I've gone?
I shall do so, my lord.
Really, I don't want to meet my father 3 days running. It is a great deal too much excitement for any son. I hope to goodness he won't come up. Fathers should be neither seen nor heard. That is the only proper basis for family life. Mothers are different. Mothers are darlings.
Well, sir, what are you doing here? Wasting your time as usual, I suppose.
My dear father, when one pays a visit, it is for the purpose of wasting other people's time, not one's own.
Have you been thinking over what I spoke to you about last night?
I've been thinking about nothing else.
Engaged to be married yet?
Not yet, but I hope to be before lunchtime.
You can have till dinner time if it would be of any convenience to you.
Thanks awfully, but I think I'd sooner be engaged before lunch.
Never know when you are serious or not.
Neither do I, Father.
I suppose you have read the Times this morning?
The Times? Certainly not. I only read the Morning Post. All that should know about modern life is where the duchesses are. Anything else is quite demoralizing.
Do you mean to say you have not read the Times' leading article on Robert Chiltern's career?
Good heavens, no. What does it say?
What should it say, sir? Everything complimentary, of course. Chiltern's speech last night on this Argentine canal scheme was one of the finest pieces of oratory ever delivered in the House since Canning.
Ah! Never heard of Canning. Never wanted to. And did Chiltern uphold the scheme?
Uphold it, sir? How little you know him. Why, he denounced it roundly, and the whole system of modern political finance. This speech is the turning point in his career, as the Times points out. You should read this article, sir. Sir Robert Chiltern, most rising of a young statesman, brilliant orator, unblemished career, well-known integrity of character, represents what is best in English public life. Noble contrast to the lax morality so common among foreign politicians. They will never say that of you, sir.
I sincerely hope not, Father. However, I'm delighted at what you tell me about Robert. Thoroughly delighted. It shows he has got pluck.
I wish you would go into Parliament.
My dear Father, only people who look dull ever get into the House of Commons, and only people who are dull ever succeed there.
Why don't you try to do something useful in life?
I am far too young.
I hate this affectation of youth, sir. It is a great deal too prevalent nowadays.
Youth isn't an affection. Youth is an art.
Why don't you propose to that pretty Miss Chiltern?
I am of a very nervous disposition, especially in the morning.
I don't suppose there is the smallest chance of her accepting you. If she did accept you, she would be the prettiest fool in England.
That is just what I should like to marry. A thoroughly sensible wife would reduce me to a condition of absolute idiocy in less than 6 months.
You don't deserve her, sir.
My dear Father, if men married the women we deserve, we should have a very bad time of it.
Oh, how do you do, Lord Caversham? I hope Lady Caversham is quite well.
Lady Caversham is, as usual. As usual.
Good morning, Miss Mabel.
And Lady Caversham's bonnets? Are they at all better?
Ugh, they have had a serious relapse, I am sorry to say.
Good morning, Miss Mabel.
I hope an operation will not be necessary.
If it is, we shall have to give Lady Caversham a narcotic. Otherwise, she would never consent to have a feather touched.
Good morning, Miss Mabel.
Oh, are you here? Of course. You understand that after your breaking your appointment, I am never going to speak to you again.
Oh, please don't say such a thing. You are the one person in London I really like to have you to listen to me.
Lord Goring, I never believe a single word that either you or I say to each other.
You are quite right, my dear. Quite right. As far as he is concerned, I mean.
Do you think you could possibly make your son behave a little better occasionally? Just as a change.
I regret to say, Miss Chiltern, that I have no influence at all over my son. I wish I had. If I had, I know what I would make him do.
I am afraid that he has one of those terribly weak natures that are not susceptible to influence.
Oh, he is very heartless. Very heartless.
It seems to me that I'm a little in the way here.
It is very good for you to be in the way, and to know what people say of you behind your back.
I don't at all like knowing what people say of me behind my back. It makes me far too conceited.
After that, my dear, I really must bid you good morning.
Oh, I hope you are not going to leave me alone with Lord Goring, especially at such an early hour in the day.
I am afraid I can't take him with me to Downing Street. It is not the Prime Minister's day for seeing the unemployed.
Lord Caversham shakes hands with Mabel Chiltern, takes up his hat and stick, and goes out, with a parting glare of indignation at Lord Goring. Mabel takes up roses and begins to arrange them in a bowl on the table.
People who don't keep their appointments in the park are horrid.
Detestable.
I'm glad you admit it, and I wish you wouldn't look so pleased about it.
I can't help it. I always look pleased when I'm with you.
Then I suppose it is my duty to remain with you?
Of course it is.
Well, my duty is a thing I never do, on principle. It always depresses me. So I'm afraid I must leave you.
Please don't, Miss Mabel. I have something very particular to say to you.
Oh, is it a proposal?
Well, yes, it is. I'm bound to say it is.
I am so glad. That makes the second today.
The second today? What conceited arse has been impertinent enough to dare to propose to you before I had proposed to you?
Tommy Trafford, of course. It is one of Tommy's days for proposing. He always proposes on Tuesdays and Thursdays during the season.
You didn't accept him, I hope.
I make it a rule never to accept Tommy. That is why he goes on proposing. Of course, as you didn't turn up this morning, I very nearly said yes. It would have been an excellent lesson for both him and for you if I had. It would have taught you both better manners.
Oh, bother Tommy Trafford. Tommy's a silly little arse. I love you.
And I know. And I think you might have mentioned it before. I am sure I've given you heaps of opportunities.
Mabel, do be serious. Please be serious.
Ah, that is the sort of thing a man always says to a girl before he has been married to her. He never says it afterward.
Mabel, I have told you that I love you. Can't you love me a little in return?
You silly Arthur. If you knew anything about anything, which you don't, you would know that I adore you. Everyone in London knows it except you. It is a public scandal the way I adore you. I've been going about it for the last 6 months telling the whole of society that I adore you.
Dear, do you know I was awfully afraid of being refused? And of course I'm not nearly good enough for you, Mabel, and I'm a little over 30.
Dear, you look weeks younger than that.
How sweet of you to say so. And it is only fair to tell you frankly that I am fearfully extravagant.
But so am I, Arthur. So we're sure to agree. And now I must go and see Gertrude.
Then do tell her I want to talk to her particularly. I've been waiting here all the morning to see either her or Robert.
Do you mean to say you didn't come here expressly to propose to me?
No, that was a flash of genius.
You're first.
My last.
I am delighted to hear it. Now don't stir. I'll be back in 5 minutes. And don't fall into any temptations while I am away.
Dear Mabel, while you are away, there are none. It makes me horribly dependent on you.
Good morning, dear. How pretty you're looking.
How pale you are looking, Gertrude. It is most becoming.
Good morning, Lord Goring.
Good morning, Lady Chiltern.
Mabel Chiltern blows Lord Goring a kiss, unobserved by Lady Chiltern, and exits, going to the conservatory.
Lady Chiltern, I have a certain amount of very good news to tell you. Mrs. Cheverley gave me up Robert's letter last night, and I burned it. Robert is safe.
Safe? Oh, I'm so glad of that. What a good friend you are to him, to us.
There is only one person now that could be said to be in any danger.
Who is that?
Yourself.
I? In danger? What do you mean?
Danger is too great a word. It is a word I should not have used, but I admit I have something to tell you that may distress you. That terribly distresses me. Yesterday evening you wrote to me a very beautiful womanly letter asking me for my help. You wrote to me as one of your oldest friends, one of your husband's oldest friends. Mrs. Cheverley stole that letter from my rooms.
Well, what use is it to her? Why should she not have it?
Lady Chiltern, I will be quite frank with you. Mrs. Cheverley puts a certain construction on that letter and proposes to send it to your husband.
But what construction could she put on it? Oh, not that. If I, in trouble and wanting your help, trusting you, propose to come to you, that you may advise me, assist me. Oh, are there women so horrible as that? And she proposes to send it to my husband? Tell me what happened. Tell me all that happened.
Mrs. Cheverley was concealed in a room adjoining my library without my knowledge. I thought that the person who was waiting in that room to see me was yourself. Robert came in unexpectedly. A chair or something fell in the room. He forced his way in and he discovered her. We had a terrible scene. I still thought it was you. He left me in anger. At the end of everything, Mrs. Cheverley got possession of your letter. She stole it. When or how, I don't know.
At what hour did this happen?
At 10:30. And now I propose that we tell Robert the whole thing at once.
You want me to tell Robert that the woman you expected was not Mrs. Cheverley but myself? That it was I whom you thought was concealed in a room in your house at 10:30 at night? You want me to tell him that?
I think it is better that he should know the exact truth.
Oh, I couldn't.
May I do it?
No!
You are wrong, Lady Chiltern.
No, the letter must be intercepted. That is all. But how can I do it? Letters arrive from him every moment of the day. His secretaries open them and hand them to him. I dare not ask the servants to bring me his letters. It would be impossible. Oh, why don't you tell me what to do?
Pray be calm, Lady Chiltern, and answer the questions I'm going to put to you. You said his secretaries open his letters.
Yes.
Who is with him today? Mr. Trafford, isn't it?
No, Mr. Montford, I think.
You can trust him. How would he would do what you asked him, wouldn't he?
I think so.
Your letter was on pink paper. He could recognize it without reading it, couldn't he? By the colour. Is he in the house now?
Yes.
Then I will go and see him myself and tell him that a certain letter written on pink paper is to be forwarded to Robert today, and that at all costs it must not reach him. Oh, Robert is coming upstairs with the letter in his hand. It has reached him already.
Oh, you saved his life. What have you done with mine?
Enter Sir Robert. He has the letter in his hand and is reading it. He comes towards his wife, not noticing Lord Goring's presence.
I want you. I trust you. I am coming to you, Gertrude. Oh, my love. Is this true? Do you indeed trust me and want me? If so, it was for me to come to you, not for you to write of coming to me. This letter of yours, Gertrude, makes me feel that nothing the world may do can hurt me now. You want me, Gertrude?
Lord Goring, unseen by Sir Robert's children, makes an imploring sign to Lady Chiltern to accept the situation and Sir Robert's error.
Yes.
Trust me, Gertrude?
Yes.
Oh, why did you not add you loved me?
Because I loved you.
Gertrude, you don't know what I feel. When Montford passed me your letter across the table, he had opened it by mistake, I suppose, without looking at the handwriting on the envelope, and I read it. Oh, I did not care what disgrace or punishment was in store for me. I only thought you loved me still.
There is no disgrace in store for you, nor any public shame. Mrs. Cheverley has handed over to Lord Goring the document that was in your possession, and he has destroyed it.
Are you sure of this, Gertrude?
Yes. Lord Goring just told me.
Then I'm safe. Oh, what a wonderful thing to be safe. For 2 days I have been in terror. I'm safe now. How did Arthur destroy my letter? Tell me.
He burned it.
Oh, I wish I had seen that one sin of my youth burning to ashes. How many men there are in modern life who would like to see their past burning to white ash for them. Is Arthur still here?
Yes, he's in the conservatory.
I'm so glad now I made that speech last night in the house. So glad. I made it thinking that public disgrace might be the result, but it has not been so.
Public honour has been the result.
I think so. I fear so, almost. For although I am safe from detection, although every proof against me is destroyed, I suppose, Gertrude, I suppose I should retire from public life.
Oh, yes, Robert, you should do that. It is your duty to do that.
It is much to surrender.
No, it will be much to gain.
And you would be happy living somewhere alone with me? Abroad, perhaps, or in the country, away from London, away from public life? You would have no regrets?
Oh, none, Robert.
Lord Goring, who has slipped away to the conservatory, returns looking very pleased with himself, and with an entirely new buttonhole that someone has made for him.
Arthur, I have to thank you for what you've done for me. I don't know how I can repay you.
My dear fellow, I'll tell you at once. At the present moment, in the conservatory.
Good morning, Lady Chiltern. Warmest congratulations to you, Chiltern, on your brilliant speech last night. I have just left the Prime Minister, and you are to have the vacant seat in the Cabinet.
A seat in the Cabinet?
Yes, here is the Prime Minister's letter. You well deserve it, too. You have got what we want so much in political life nowadays. High character, high moral tone, high principles. Everything that you have not got, sir, and never will have.
I don't like principles, Father. I prefer prejudices.
Sir Robert Chiltern reviews the letter from the Prime Minister and is on the brink of accepting the Prime Minister's offer when he sees wife looking at him with her clear, candid eyes. He then realizes that it is impossible.
I cannot accept this offer, Lord Caversham. I have made up my mind to decline it.
Decline it, sir.
My intention is to retire at once from public life.
Decline a seat in the Cabinet and retire from public life. Never heard such damned nonsense in the whole course of my existence. I beg your pardon, Lady Chiltern. Chiltern, I beg your pardon. Lady Chiltern, you are a sensible woman, the most sensible woman in London, the most sensible woman I know. Will you kindly prevent your husband from taking such... Will you kindly do that, Lady Chiltern?
I think my husband is right in his determination, Lord Caversham. I approve of it.
You approve of it? Good heavens!
I admire him for it. I admire him immensely for it. I have never admired him so much before. He is finer than ever I thought him. Robert, you will go and write your letter to the Prime Minister now, won't you? Don't hesitate about it, Robert.
I suppose I had better write it at once. Such offers are not repeated. I will ask you to excuse me for a moment, Lord Caversham.
I may come with you, Robert, may I not?
Yes, Gertrude.
What is the matter with this family? Something wrong here, eh? Idiocy? Hereditary, I suppose. Both of them, too. Wife as well as husband. Very sad. Very sad indeed. And they are not an old family. Can't understand it.
It is not idiocy, Father, I assure you.
What is it then, sir?
Well, it is what is called nowadays a high moral tone, Father, that is all.
Hate these newfangled names. Same thing as we used to call idiocy 50 years ago. Shan't stay in this house any longer.
Oh, just go in the conservatory for a moment, Father. Third palm tree to the left. There is someone there I want you to talk to.
What about, sir?
About me, Father.
Not a subject on which much eloquence is possible.
No, Father, but the lady is like me. She doesn't care much for eloquence in others. She thinks it's a little loud. Lady Chiltern, why are you playing Mrs. Cheverley's cards?
I don't understand you.
Mrs. Cheverley made an attempt to ruin your husband, either to drive him from public life, or to make him adopt a dishonourable position. From the latter tragedy you saved him, the former, you are now thrusting on him. Why should you do him the wrong, Mrs. Cheverley? Tried to do and failed.
Lord Goring?
Lady Chiltern, allow me. You wrote me a letter last night, in which you said you trusted me and wanted my help. Now is the moment when you really want my help. Now is the time when you have got to trust me, to trust in my counsel and judgment. You love Robert. Do you want to kill his love for you? What sort of existence will he have if you rob him of the fruits of his ambition? If you like to take him from the splendour of a great political career? If you close the doors of public life against him? If you condemn him to sterile failure? He who has made for triumph and success? Women are not meant to judge us, but to forgive us when we need forgiveness. Pardon, not punishment, is their mission. Why should you scourge him with rods for a sin done in his youth? Before he knew you, before he knew himself. Don't make any terrible mistake, Lady Chiltern.
But it is my husband himself who wishes to retire from public life. He feels it is his duty. It was he who first said so.
Rather than lose your love, Robert, who would do anything, wreck his whole career, as he is on the brink of doing now. Take my advice, Lady Chiltern, and do not accept a sacrifice so great. If you do, you will live to repent it bitterly. Robert has been punished enough.
We've both been punished. I set him up too high.
Do not for that reason set him down now too low. If he has fallen from his altar, do not thrust him into the mire. Failure to Robert will be the very mire of shame. Power is his passion. He will lose everything, even his power to feel love. Your husband's love is in your hands. Don't mark both for him.
Gertrude, here is the draft of my letter. Shall I read it to you?
Let me see it.
Sir Robert hands her the letter. She reads it and then, with a gesture of passion, tears it up.
What are you doing?
I will not spoil your life for you, nor see you spoil it as a sacrifice to me. A useless sacrifice.
Gertrude! Gertrude!
You can forget. Men easily forget. And I forgive.
My wife! My wife! Arthur, it seems that I am always to be in your debt.
Oh dear no, Robert. Your debt is to Lady Chiltern, not to me.
I owe you much. Now, tell me what you were going to ask me just now as Lord Caversham came in.
Robert, you are your sister's guardian, and I want your consent to my marriage with her. That is all.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
Thank you, Lady Chiltern.
My sister? To be your wife?
Yes.
Arthur, I'm very sorry, but the thing is quite out of the question. I have to think of Mabel's future happiness, and I don't think her happiness would be safe in your hands. And I cannot have her sacrificed.
Sacrificed?
Yes, utterly sacrificed. Loveless marriages are horrible. But there is one thing worse than an absolutely loveless marriage. A marriage in which there is love, but on one side only. Faith, but on one side only. Devotion, but on one side only. And in which of the two hearts one is sure to be broken.
But I love Mabel. No other woman has any place in my life.
Robert, if they love each other, why should they not be married?
Arthur cannot bring Mabel the love that she deserves.
What reason have you for saying that?
Do you really require me to say that?
Certainly I do.
As you choose. When I called on you yesterday evening, I found Mrs. Chevalier concealed in your room. It was between 10 and 11 o'clock at night. I do not wish to say anything more, but your relations with Mrs. Chevalier have, as I said to you last night, nothing whatsoever to do with me. I know you were engaged to be married to her once. The fascination she exercised over you then seems to have returned. You spoke to me last night of her as a woman pure and stainless, a woman who you respected and honoured. That may be so, but I cannot give my sister's life into your hands. It would be wrong of me. It would be unjust, infamously unjust to her.
I have nothing more to say.
Robert, it was not Mrs. Chevalier whom Lord Goring expected last night.
Not Mrs. Chevalier? Who was it then?
Lady Chiltern?
It was your own wife. Robert, yesterday afternoon Lord Goring told me that if ever I was in trouble, I could come to him for help, as he was our oldest and best friend. Later on, after that terrible scene in this room, I wrote to him telling him that I trusted him, that I had need of him, and that I was coming to him for help and advice. Yes, the letter. I didn't go to Lord Goring's after all. I felt that it is from ourselves alone that help can come. Pride made me think that. Mrs. Chevalier went. She stole my letter and sent it anonymously to you this morning, that you should think... Oh, Robert, I cannot tell you what she wished you to think.
What? Had I fallen so low in your eyes that you thought that even for a moment I could have doubted your goodness? Gertrude, Gertrude, you are to be the white image of all good things, and sin can never touch you. Arthur, you can go to Mabel, and you have my best wishes. Oh, stop a moment. There is no name at the beginning of this letter. Brilliant Mrs. Shepherd does not seem to have noticed her. There should be a name.
Let me write yours. It is you I trust and need. You and none else.
Well, really, Lady Chiltern, I think I should have back my own letter.
No, you shall have Mabel.
Well, I hope she hasn't changed her mind. It's nearly 20 minutes since I saw her last.
Lord Goring, I think your father's conversation much more improving than yours. I am only going to talk to Lord Caversham in the future, and always in the conservatory under the palm tree.
Darling!
What does this mean, sir? You don't mean to say that this charming, clever young lady has been so foolish as to accept you?
Certainly, Father. And Chiltern has been wise enough to accept the seat in the cabinet.
Oh, I am very glad to hear that, Chiltern. I congratulate you, sir. If the country doesn't go to the dogs or the radicals, we shall have you Prime Minister someday.
You'll stop to luncheon, Lord Caversham, won't you?
With pleasure, and I'll drive you to Downing Street afterwards, Chiltern. You have a great future before you. A great future. Wish I could say the same for you, sir. And if you don't make this young lady an ideal husband, I'll cut you off without a shilling.
An ideal husband? No, I don't think I should like that. Sounds like something in the next world.
What do you want him to be, then, dear?
He can be what he chooses. All I want to be a real wife to him.
Upon my word, there is a good deal of common sense in that, Lady Chiltern.
They all go out except Sir Robert. He sinks in a chair, wrapped in thought. After a little time, Lady Chiltern returns to look for him.
Aren't you coming in, Robert?
Gertrude, is it love you feel for me, or is it pity merely?
It is love, Robert. Love, and only love. For both of us a new life is beginning.
PTAC's audio drama series is a production by the Phoenix Theatre and Arts Company. This week's episode, An Ideal Husband Act 4, was adapted by Phil Pinault, directed by Gina Stanton and Jenna Isabella, edited by Jenna Isabella, and features the vocal talents of Anna Fazio as the narrator, Nicholas Tuosto as Lord Goring, Tim Trewalla as Phipps, Mike Stanton as Lord Caversham, Naomi Hansen as Mabel Chiltern, Jenna Isabella as Lady Gertrude Chiltern, and David Nielsen as Sir Robert Chiltern. Original PTAC music by Brian Sanishin. This episode was recorded during a live, in-person group reading of the play, the first of this kind for PTAC. For a full listing of credits, visit us at phoenixtheatreartsco.com. That's theater with an R-E. While you're there, please consider clicking the donate link. That would be delightful. Have comments or questions? Email us at phoenixtheatreartsco@gmail.com or find us on social media. A very special thank you to our Patreon subscribers, with a shout out to those sitting in the box seats, Ken Shelby, and on-stage seating, Margaret Thurston. We couldn't do this without you. Join us next time for Fall Poetry.